The hour was nearing 6 in the evening, the busiest time for orders in the elite restaurant at the city center. The kitchen was alive with the music of work. Cooks were chopping, stewing, boiling, and frying. Waiters darted back and forth, carrying out ready dishes and bringing in dirty plates, which they dumped by the sink. Ira, wearing a greasy apron, scrubbed the dishes, scraping leftovers of other people's dinners into the trash. The monotonous, grimy work of a weary dishwasher had become her shield, a barrier safely hiding her from the outside world. The kitchen door swung open, and one of the waiters slipped inside, grabbing a plate and calling out quickly to the chef, "Vladislav Nikolaevich is here. Hez coming your way." Then he rushed out again. Catching the words through the noise of cooking and the clatter of dishes, Ira lifted her head. For a moment, it seemed everyone in the kitchen froze, glancing toward the head chef. He quickly pulled himself together. "Back to work. What are you staring at?" he barked. Everyone instantly resumed their tasks as the restaurant owner stepped into the kitchen. Vladislav Nikolaevich, impeccably dressed, confident, and composed, surveyed the humming room. Through the haze of steam, his gaze stopped on the dishwashing woman hunched in the far corner. "Hey, you there!" he barked roughly, not bothering to soften his tone. "You're exactly who I need." Ira flinched. She was used to being invisible, and the fact that the restaurant owner himself suddenly noticed her, the woman standing knee-deep in dirty dishes, left her stunned. But she quickly collected herself, though her shoulders stayed tense. "Did something happen, Vladislav Nikolaevich?" she asked, continuing to scrape sauce off a plate. "Drop the dishes. You're coming with me. Now," he ordered, gesturing impatiently. She obediently removed her damp apron, set it on the counter, and followed him. He strode quickly down the service corridor, and Ira had to almost run to keep up. "You have half an hour to get yourself ready," he said sharply. "You're coming with me to a business dinner." "Excuse me, sir," she began hesitantly. "You must be mistaken." The man stopped abruptly and turned toward her. "No. I need you," he said flatly, adjusting his tie in irritation. "In an hour, a delegation of foreign partners will arrive for an informal business dinner. Everyone's bringing wives, lovers, companions, who knows. My companion threw a tantrum after another argument and left. Good riddance. I'm even glad she won't be drinking my blood tonight." Ira was taken aback by his bluntness. "But I'm hardly the first person you should ask," she protested. "There's Zofia, the administrator, a fine woman. Or one of the waitresses." The owner sighed irritably, caught off guard by her audacity. Zofia can't leave her post. The restaurant would fall apart without her. And the waitresses, young, silly girls, they'd either giggle stupidly or stare at the guests like fools. "No, thank you. Enough talk. The dishwasher can handle things without you. Go get changed. Time's short. You'll play your part quietly and then go back to work." Ira looked at his expensive suit, then at her worn jeans and faded sweater, and suddenly stood her ground. "Fine," she said calmly. "But on 2 conditions. First, you will treat me with complete respect for the entire evening. And second," she glanced down at her work clothes. "Second, I can't show up like this. It won't make a good impression on your guests. Give me your card. I'll buy a dress." Vladislav recoiled. "There's no time. Are you insane?" Ira stepped closer, forcing him to back away. "If I am to look like your companion, then at least for this evening, you will treat me as one," she said firmly. "Don't forget your place." "You're just a dishwasher," he warned, his voice trembling slightly. "Yes," she replied calmly. "I wash dishes and scrub floors. But that doesn't mean I'm not a woman. And I have my secrets. You get ready for your precious dinner. I'll take care of myself, with your card, if you want this plan to work." He clenched his jaw and, after a long moment, reluctantly pulled a gold credit card from his wallet. "You've got until evening. Don't be late," he muttered. Ira, dressed in her plain clothes, rushed out into the glowing city streets. Storefronts shone with warm light. Her heart beat faster. Time was slipping away. Every day, she had passed by one boutique, her eyes always catching on a single dress in the window, the color of midnight sky, embroidered with fine silver thread. It had always felt like it was waiting just for her. She pushed open the heavy glass door. The noise of the street vanished, replaced by the hush and scent of expensive perfume. A young, arrogant consultant approached, eyeing her faded sweater and washed-out jeans with open disdain. "Can I help you?" he asked coldly. "I need an evening gown," Yura said clearly. "The one in the window, dark blue." He arched an eyebrow, smirking. "I'm sorry, but that's an exclusive model. We only show it to clients who can appreciate and afford it." His tone was polite enough to be insulting. "I'm afraid I can't help you." Yura shivered inwardly at his arrogance, but outwardly remained calm. Instead of arguing, she slowly took out the gold card and tapped it against the polished glass counter. The quiet click echoed through the boutique. "You must have misheard me, young man," she said evenly, her tone refined yet firm. "I asked you to show me that dress. I don't have time to argue." The consultant blanched at the sight of the premium gold card, and the confident tone that suddenly transformed the woman before him. "Of course," he stammered, instantly changing his tune. "My apologies." He hurried to retrieve the gown. Yura nodded, having won the right to try on her dream dress. In the fitting room, she slipped off her everyday clothes and carefully put on the gown. The smooth, cool fabric flowed around her body, embracing her like a second skin. It felt as though it had been made for her. She looked in the mirror and smiled at her reflection. Releasing her hair with a single motion, the soft waves cascaded down her shoulders. When she stepped out, the consultant jumped up, bumping his knee against the counter, eyes wide in astonishment. Before him stood a breathtaking woman. "I'll take it," Yura said confidently. She paid without even glancing at the price tag. Catching one last glimpse of herself in the mirror, she felt her heart sing. Her dream had come true. She nearly ran back through the evening streets toward the restaurant. She made it just in time. A woman in a dark blue gown entered through the main doors, drawing every gaze. At the far end of the hall, she spotted Vladislav. He was tense, helping the guests with forced politeness, clearly stalling for time. His eyes flicked toward the entrance, and then he froze. The dishwasher was gone. In her place stood a radiant beauty. Yura smiled softly and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His face changed from disbelief to awe. The restaurant administrator, Zofia, courteously led the guest to the table, not realizing who she truly was. "Allow me to introduce," Vladislav began, then faltered. He hadn't even asked her name. "My fiancée, Irina," she said gracefully, saving him. Negotiations began, in English, about investments and business expansion. The guests were from a major European company. Conversation drifted between business and polite humor. Yura stayed silent, sipping premium mineral water and tasting the expensive salad. A lady with a diamond necklace turned to her and said in English, "You're so quiet, my dear." "What do you do?" Vladislav stiffened. Yura smiled, replying in elegant English, "I dedicate myself to the arts and cherish moments of quiet." Her flawless pronunciation and poise left him stunned. The topic naturally shifted to art, opera premieres, gallery openings. A silver-haired man named Carlos kept studying her face. At last, he asked cautiously, "Forgive me, madam, but you wouldn't, by any chance, have sung at the La Scala Opera House in Milan? You look exactly like a famous soprano, Irina Telagina." Vladislav froze. "Yes," Yura said simply, with dignity. "I did." Carlos gasped. "My God. You are Irina Telagina. That voice, unforgettable. We saw La Traviata in Milan." The room fell silent. Vladislav gaped in disbelief. Even he had heard of the great Irina Telagina, the celebrated opera diva. The atmosphere changed instantly. The guests were thrilled. The dinner ended in a warm, inspired mood. The men kissed her hand, the women embraced her. Vladislav knew the evening's success was thanks entirely to her. Later that night, as he escorted her home, he said softly, "Irina, you're an incredible woman. You strengthened my reputation tonight. But tell me, someone with such a past, such talent, what are you hiding from?" He looked into her eyes, but she gave no answer. He kissed her hand and left. The next morning, Yura could barely get out of bed. Exhaustion and despair consumed her. The memories of that night, the lights, the applause, the English speech, had reopened the wound between her glorious past and her humiliating present. She remembered Milan, La Traviata, the triumphant ovation, and then the man waiting backstage, Mark, her lover and manager. His jealous rage, his pressure, his demand that she continue performing despite her exhaustion. The breakdown came mid-performance. A sharp pain in her throat, and silence. Doctors said her voice was gone, her vocal cords ruptured by hemorrhage and stress. Mark left her when he learned she could no longer sing. He cursed her and abandoned her, leaving her without money for the surgery that could have saved her career. The great soprano faded into obscurity. Now, sitting on her bed years later, Yura trembled. Vladislav had gained from last night, but she had lost everything again, her secret, her fragile peace. All day she sat motionless. When her phone finally buzzed, she glanced at the screen. A single cold message glowed: "Find another job." She set the phone aside. It didn't matter. She had lost everything once before. The next morning, gathering the remnants of her strength, Yura went outside. Her steps led her to the old conservatory she once graduated from. The autumn rain drizzled. She walked slowly, lost in thought, hoping there might be a vacancy, something. Suddenly, a hand touched her shoulder. She turned, startled. It was Vladislav. He looked serious, almost anxious. "Why aren't you at work?" he asked, his tone automatically authoritative. "I was looking for you," he added. Yura bowed her head, expecting anger. But instead, his voice softened. "I spent all night listening to your recordings," he said quietly. A divine voice. "I can't forget it. I read everything I could find about you, about Irina Telagina, the star, the tragedy you shouldn't hide from the world, Irina. You shouldn't hide your gift." She said nothing. She knew her gift was gone. He took her shoulders gently. "I'm not just impressed, Irina. I'm captivated. If you can trust me, I'll help you. I've found the best specialists. I'll bring your voice back." She met his gaze. The wall of fear and loneliness began to crumble under the weight of hope. A tearful smile touched her lips. "All right," she whispered. "I trust you, Vladislav." With his support and resources, Irina underwent complex surgery. Months of rehabilitation followed, and at last, her divine voice returned, even stronger than before. 2 years later, Irina Telagina triumphantly returned to the grand stage. Vladislav was by her side. What began as a strange accident had grown into a strong and tender love, built on trust, compassion, and faith. And tell us, did you like this story? Make sure to subscribe. A new one will be out in just a few days. Don't miss it.